The sky was burning. Red clouds rolled over the shattered battlefield as smoke rose from the broken machines and ruined bodies. Giant warships had already left the sky, heading back into orbit. The battle was over, and humanity had lost Dash again. Eli stepped over the cracked metal of a destroyed mech. His uniform was torn. Blood, his own and others, stained his arms. He couldn't hear much, just a sharp ringing in his ears. All around him, silence and fire. Then he saw her. Near the edge of a stone wall, buried under debris, was a figure. A warrior slumped forward, barely breathing. She wore black armor, unlike anything he had seen before, smooth and shining with blue lights. A mask covered her face, sharp like a blade, with symbols glowing across it. Eli raised his weapon. He didn't know if she was alive, or what species she was, but then her fingers twitched. He stepped closer, slowly. His boots crunched the ash. The air smelled like burning oil and death. He reached her side and crouched. Her chest moved barely. Her breathing was shallow, labored, like every second was a fight. "Hey," he said, not expecting a reply. "You alive?" She moved her head, just an inch. Then, her hand gripped his wrist, weak but sudden. Her voice was soft, broken, like it hadn't been used in years. "You're human," she whispered. He froze. Her voice, it didn't sound alien. It sounded familiar, too familiar. Eli looked around. They were alone. Maybe the last two souls alive in the ruins of that battlefield. He placed his hand on her shoulder. "Who are you?" She didn't answer, her head tilted back against the wall. The lights on her mask blinked slower now. Her life was slipping away. Then she whispered something that would haunt him forever. "If I die now, remove my mask," she said. "You'll finally know who I really am." Eli blinked. "What?" But she was slipping away. Her eyes closed under the mask. Her body went limp. He caught her just in time. Her head dropped into his arms. She wasn't heavy. In fact, she was small for a soldier. Smaller than most alien warriors he'd seen. And her blood, it wasn't red. It was deep violet. He stared. At her helmet, the smooth metal reflected firelight. His fingers hovered near the seams of the mask. Just one pull, and maybe he'd know who she was. What she meant, but something in him hesitated, because her voice, it stirred something old. Something buried. Years ago, before the war, before everything burned, Eli had lost someone. A girl. She was human, smart, full of laughter. He never saw her body, only the ship she was supposed to be on destroyed in orbit by an alien fleet. She had been gone for 10 years. No body, no goodbye. And yet this dying warrior, her voice sounded like hers. Eli shook his head. He was tired. Hurt. Maybe his mind was playing tricks. Still, he couldn't leave her. He picked her up, slowly, carefully, cradling her like she was made of glass. She groaned in pain but didn't resist. Her armor was warm. Alive almost. Like it pulsed with something inside her. Something not fully human. As he walked through the rubble, carrying her through fire and silence, he whispered, "You better live. I need answers." Behind him, the sky cracked open again as more ships left orbit. But Eli didn't look back. He had a mission now. Not orders from command. Not revenge. This was personal. He didn't know who the masked warrior was, or why. She said what she said, but something in her voice pulled at a thread deep inside him, a memory. A loss, a name long buried, and as she lay weak in his arms, one final breath escaped her lips. Don't forget, the promise. Her body was still, her armor quiet. But Eli knew whatever she was, whatever secret she held, the truth was just behind that mask. And he wasn't ready for what it might reveal. Eli didn't stop moving. Smoke curled in the sky as he carried the masked girl through broken gates, across the lifeless ruins of the outpost. His legs shook, but he didn't let go. He didn't even know why he was doing this. She could be the enemy, a trap. A weapon, but something about her voice, the way she whispered his name. It was like hearing a song he thought he'd forgotten. He laid her down gently on a cold metal table inside the abandoned medical bay. The power flickered, but emergency systems were still running. A faint green light blinked on. He scanned her. The machine beeped, searching. Symbols flashed across the screen. Species, unknown. Blood type, non-human. Genetic match, partial. Human DNA detected. Eli stared at the screen, his breath caught in his throat. Part human? That wasn't possible. No known hybrid had ever survived. Past birth. And yet, this girl, whoever she was alive. And had somehow fought like a warrior. She groaned, her head turning. Her mask moved slightly, but stayed on. Eli leaned in. Can you hear me? She stirred. Her voice came again, weak, but clearer than before. You used to climb trees too fast, she mumbled. Eli's heart stopped. What did you say? She didn't answer. Her lips moved, but her eyes stayed closed. Then she whispered again. You fell once and cried because your brother laughed. Froze. That memory, only two people had known that. Him and her. Liana? He whispered, but that name hadn't left his mouth in years. Liana Hart. She had been his childhood best friend. They were 12 when the invasion began. She was smart, brave, always running into danger before him. She had been assigned to the evac ship. It was hit by alien fire while leaving Earth's orbit. The ship exploded. Nothing had survived. Or so they thought. Eli stared at the girl in front of him, the same voice. The same tone. It couldn't be, could it? He took a deep breath and touched the edge of her mask again. No, he told himself, not yet. He needed answers. Real ones. He tapped into the outpost terminal. Most systems were dead. But the old logs still worked. He ran her blood scan through the internal archives. A match popped up. Project Symbios, classified, redacted, but one name showed clearly beneath the top file. Subject, Owana. Liana Hart. Eli stood still. His mouth was dry. His mind raced. Had the military done this? Did they hand her over? Or had she been taken? Turned into a weapon? He looked at her again. What did they do to you? He whispered. Suddenly, alarms chirped on the scanner. Her vitals were dropping. Fast. Her chest rose and fell in uneven gasps. She was dying. He rushed back and held her hand. Her skin was warm, but her pulse was thin. Stay with me, he said. I need you to stay. Her eyes opened beneath the glass of her mask. Dim but aware. I was never supposed to survive this long, she said. The mask, it holds the lock. What lock? The memories. My identity. They sealed it, hid it. Why? So I wouldn't remember who I really was. Not until the moment they needed me to kill you. Eli stepped back, stunned. What are you talking about? Her voice shook. They told me you were dangerous. That if I got too close, I had to destroy you. But I remembered you, Eli. Before they erased me. Tears filled his eyes. He hadn't cried in years. You remembered me? He asked. She nodded. Only pieces, a swing set, a tree. A boy with messy hair. That was me, he whispered. She coughed. They buried me in a shell, but I kept the pieces inside. He touched her shoulder gently. Then let me help you remember all of it. She grabbed his wrist again, just like on the battlefield. But this time, it was not a warrior's grip. It was a girl's touch, scared and fragile. Then remove the mask, she said, and I'll show you everything. Ailey stared at the mask. His hand hovered again near the release. But this time, something was different. The mask was pulsing like it didn't want to be removed. Eli didn't sleep. He sat near her all night, watching her breathe. The medical bay was quiet, now just the soft hum of the backup systems, and the slow, steady beeping of the vitals monitor beside her bed. The mask still covered her face. But now he knew it wasn't just a mask. It was a prison. And she was trapped behind it. Eli pulled the tablet closer. He had dug deeper into the outpost backup logs. More data had appeared once the name Liana Hart was unlocked. One file showed a full DNA breakdown before and after the transformation. What he saw made his hands go cold. The girl on the table wasn't just mixed. She was built, engineered by a rogue lab. They had taken Liana's DNA, spliced it with alien cells, and overwritten her memory using neural rewriting tech. She was meant to serve a single purpose: infiltrate humanity, then eliminate her target. And the target was him. Eli stared at the screen, at the words, Mission Trigger, Visual Recognition, Subject E. Carter. The trigger was his face. He looked over at her again. She was still breathing, still alive. And yet, she had known his name before the mask ever cracked, which meant something inside her had resisted. She had seen him, heard his voice, and still, she hadn't killed him. She had remembered him. Eli stood and walked to her side. He reached toward the mask again, but paused. He had to be smart. The mask had shocked him once before. It was protecting itself. Or protecting her. Maybe both, but she had asked him to remove it. That had to mean something. He looked around the room, found the portable med drone unit in the wall compartment. He activated its interface and gave it a command: scan and disengage facial armor, non-lethal, override only. The machine buzzed, then hovered over her. A red laser scanned her mask from top to bottom. The screen blinked. Warning: bio-linked security lock detected. Hostile defense mode active. Eli leaned closer. There's got to be a way to shut it down. He opened the DNA file again. Near the end, something caught his eye. Override protocol, verified blood match, target subject, E. Carter. Really blinked. His blood could shut it down? He moved quickly, grabbed a sterile blade, and nicked his finger. Then, pressing his thumb gently against the glowing panel on her temple, he whispered, "It's me, Liana. It's really me." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights on her mask flickered once, twice, then dimmed to black. With a soft hiss, the armor began to slide open. Metal pulled back, clamps unlocked, and finally, the mask fell away. Eli held his breath. Underneath was a face both familiar and changed. Her skin was pale, touched with soft silver patterns like tiny scars from the alien tech. Her cheekbones sharper than before. Her lips parted slightly in sleep. But her eyes, now closed, were the same as he remembered. The same girl who once held his hand during every thunderstorm. The same girl who ran barefoot across the fields back home, Liana. He whispered. She stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. At first, they glowed faintly, alien light swirling in her pupils. But as she looked at him, the light faded. And tears filled her eyes. "You're real," she said softly. "I thought I'd killed the part of me that remembered you." He sat down beside her, trying not to break. "I never stopped looking," he said. "I always hoped you made it out, that maybe one day... Her hand touched his chest, not to harm, but to feel. To know he was real. "I was inside a lab, Eli," she said. "They told me I was special, that I volunteered. But I don't remember saying yes." He looked at her. "Do you remember anything else?" She shook her head. "Just dreams. Your voice. That song your mother used to sing when we hid under the old tree. That was real," he whispered. "All of it." She smiled. A tired, broken smile, but it was hers. Then her hand tensed. She pulled back, eyes wide. She said, "They told me if I broke free, I'd die within a day. My body is built to collapse if I go off mission. That's how they control the soldiers." Eli's face dropped. "We'll find a way," he said. Her eyes narrowed. "No. There's something else. They didn't just build me for you." She grabbed the tablet, typed quickly, and pulled up an encrypted log. It was labeled, Phase 2 activation. Earthfall sequence. Eli's blood ran cold. They didn't just want me to kill you, she whispered. They wanted to use me. 2. Open the way. Eli stared at the screen. There, glowing in red, was the date for Earth's final attack. And it was tomorrow. Eli couldn't move. His eyes were locked on the glowing red screen. The file was real. The date was clear. Tomorrow. A full-scale attack would hit Earth. The countdown had already started. He turned to Liana. She sat on the edge of the table now. Mask removed, face pale, breath uneven. Her fingers trembled as she stared at the same screen. She looked like someone who had just learned she was a weapon and had been one for years. I didn't know, she said quietly. Eli nodded. I believe you. But belief wasn't enough. They needed a way to stop the coming storm. He turned back to the screen and tapped deeper into the files. Most of them were still locked encrypted under strange alien symbols and layers of code. But one thing stood out. A folder marked memory core, locked. Next to it. Unlock requires full neural recall. What is this? Eli asked. Liana leaned closer. They told me. I had a memory lock inside me. Hidden data, mission details, backdoors. I don't remember them, but the data lives somewhere deep in my brain. And if we unlock it? He asked. Then I might remember everything, she whispered. What they planned, where they're coming from, how to stop it. Eli swallowed. Can you do it? She hesitated. It's risky. They warned me before the surgery. If the lock is broken, the brain might collapse under the flood. Some don't survive. You don't have to do it, Eli said. We'll find another way. But she looked him straight in the eyes. No, she said. They used me to destroy you. I want to use what's left of me to save you. There was no time to argue. Eli connected her to the neural stim pata, military device used to recover memories in injured soldiers. But this wasn't a normal injury. Her brain was part alien, part human, and stitched together with synthetic patterns no one fully understood. Liana closed her eyes. The machine hummed as it began. She flinched immediately. Her body jerked, her back arched, and her lips trembled like she was speaking in a language only she could hear. Eli grabbed her hand. You're not alone, he said. Her pulse spiked. Her voice came out, different, deeper, layered. Not just her voice, but another behind it. Target confirmed. Initiating emotional trigger scan. Earth coordinates stable, entry point secured. No, she whispered, fighting. This isn't me. Not anymore. Eli tightened his grip. You're Liana Hart. You're human. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the voice continued. Primary connection reestablished. Subject Eli Carter. Bond confirmed. Proceed to next phase. Then suddenly silence. The lights dimmed, and she collapsed into Eli's arms. Liana, he shouted. For a moment, nothing, no sound, no movement. Then her chest rose, slowly. Her eyes fluttered open, and when she looked at him, they weren't glowing anymore. They were just hers. Soft, human, full of something real. You're back, he whispered. She sat up slowly, as if carrying the weight of 1,000 buried memories. Then she spoke, and her voice shook. I remember all of it. Eli waited. She closed her eyes and began. They took me after the explosion. I didn't die. I was captured. They wanted a human to blend in, someone young, someone close to you. I fought. I screamed. But then, I volunteered. Eli's mouth opened. You what? She nodded. They promised I could protect Earth. That if I agreed, I could be trained to destroy their leaders. But they lied. The moment I said yes, they erased me, rewired me, turned me into something else. Her hands clenched. They used me as a tool. And they tied my memories to yours, so I'd find you, get close. And when the time was right, finish you. But you didn't, Eli said. You stopped yourself. She looked at him. Because you reminded me who I really was. Then she handed him the datapad. The locked folder from before was now open. Inside, fleet routes, invasion signals, base coordinates, everything they needed to stop Earth's destruction. But there's something else, she said. A final log. She tapped the screen. A video. Played. A younger version of her half-machine, eyes dull, looked straight into the camera. If I ever remember who I am, tell Eli this. I'm sorry I left. I wanted to come home. I just didn't know how. Eli watched in silence. Then he whispered, "You found your way back." But behind them, in the shadows of the outpost, a red light blinked to life. Someone or something was watching. And now, it knew they had the key. The message had ended, but the silence it left behind felt heavier than anything Eli had ever known. He looked at Liana. She had curled up slightly on the table, arms wrapped around herself like she wasn't sure she was real anymore. She had remembered everything, and now she didn't know who she was supposed to be. Eli pulled a thermal blanket over her shoulders. Her body was colder than before. Whatever the memory unlocking had done, it had drained her. Her skin looked pale, almost translucent, like the alien DNA inside her was weakening. "Rest," he whispered. "I'll figure out what to do next." She opened her eyes. "No, we don't have time." Eli shook his head. "You need to recover." "No," she said, her voice firmer. "They know I broke the lock." "I felt it, the connection." It snapped, and something on their end noticed. She sat up slowly, her joints stiff. Her breathing was harder now. "They'll come," she whispered. "To finish what I couldn't." Eli clenched his fists. "Let them come." She gave him a tired smile. "You always said that when we were kids." "I meant it then. I mean it now." But even as he spoke, the outpost lights flickered. A faint rumble shook the floor. He glanced toward the door. The air felt heavier, thicker. Liana stood, swaying slightly. "We have to leave," she said. "The mask. It wasn't just hiding my face. It was blocking a signal inside me. Now that it's off, they can track it." Eli's jaw tightened. "So we give them what they want." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, we don't run?" "We use me, your target, as bait." She froze. "That's suicide." "No," he said. "It's payback." But then she looked at him, really looked at him, and her face changed. Not fear, not anger, something softer. "I don't want to lose you again," she said. "Not after remembering you." Eli walked closer, gently placing his hand over hers. "You never lost me," he said. "Not even once." And in that moment, the last piece of the old Liana returned. Her lips trembled, and a tear slid down her cheek. Then the wall exploded. Shrapnel flew, smoke filled the air. Eli grabbed Liana and pulled her down behind a support beam as metal cracked and alarms blared. Out of the smoke came 3 armored figures. Not human, tall, sharp-lined, moving in sync. Their armor glowed with the same blue light as Liana's once had. But their masks weren't sealed. They were open-faced, blank expressions. Cold eyes, they had come for her. Eli raised his weapon. But Liana placed a hand on his arm. "No bullets," she said. "They're link-bound. They won't stop unless I end the signal." Eli looked at her. "How?" She reached into the compartment behind the table and pulled out her own mask. One he had removed. "I have to wear it again," she said. "Just long enough to command them to stop." "No, if you put it back on, they'll try to overwrite me," she said. "Yes, then don't do it." "I have to," she said. "If I don't stop them now, they'll kill us both. And send more." She placed the mask against her face. It snapped into place. Immediately, her body went rigid. She stood tall. Her voice changed, cold, robotic. "Command, all units stand down." The armored figures froze. "Deactivate external. Tracking. Shut neural connection. Return to stealth mode." They obeyed. And just like that, they were still. Liana turned back toward Eli. Her mask lights flickered again. Her knees buckled, but he caught her before she hit the floor. He yanked the mask off again. Her body was trembling, her eyes wide. I almost forgot myself, she whispered. It pulled me back, like a tide. Eli held her tight. You came back. That's all that matters. She looked at him, eyes full of emotion and exhaustion. I'm running out of time. My body wasn't made to last without the systems. I can feel it falling apart. Eli shook his head. No, we have the invasion data. We have the flight patterns. We're going to Earth. We'll warn them. We'll stop this. But what if I don't make it? She asked. Then I'll make sure your voice does, he said. And if I have to carry you all the way, I will. As they prepared to leave the ruins, a hidden drone above flickered silently, recording their every word. And deep in space, a dark fleet had already begun to move, awakened by the signal that was never supposed to break. The stolen ship groaned as it lifted off. Eli sat at the front controls, hands tight around the steering handles. Sparks jumped from the side panels, and one of the engines spat smoke, but the ship was moving. Behind him, Liana sat slumped in the co-pilot's seat. Her breathing was slow, her skin paler than before, her body shaking. Every time Eli looked at her, he saw the fight she was losing and the one she refused to give up. They were heading toward Earth. The outpost was behind them. And somewhere above, a fleet of alien warships had already begun to move. Eli tapped into the encrypted log she had unlocked. There were coordinates for Earth's orbit, enemy flight routes, and a shadow file labeled Final Command, Execute at Range 0. Liana's voice broke the silence. That's it. That's the kill. Switch. Eli turned. What do you mean? Her voice was hoarse. They built one final override command inside me, a signal. If I get too close to Earth without completing my mission, I activate. His heart sank. What happens when it activates? She didn't answer right away. Then she met his eyes. I explode. Eli stood so fast the chair slammed into the wall. No, they built me to be a failsafe, she said. If I couldn't kill you, they'd still get something out of me. A living bomb. One that only triggers when I come home. Ayla paced the small cockpit, hands shaking. There has to be a way to remove it. There isn't, she said. The moment we cross low orbit, the command begins. I can feel it. Like a heat. Inside my chest. He stared at her. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I didn't want you to leave me behind. She looked down. Her voice softened. Not again. Eli knelt beside her. We're going to stop it. I don't care how deep it is, how alien it is, we'll rip it out. There's not enough time, she whispered. But there's something else. She held up the chip she had pulled from the outpost, the one holding all the fleet data, the override codes, everything. This can end their war. This chip holds their hive codes, their language, their signals. If Earth gets it, they can build shields, launch strikes, stop attacks before they even start. She pressed it into his hand. You have to get this to command. Eli stared at it, then at her. Not without you. Liana's eyes glistened. You always were stubborn. Suddenly, the ship jolted. A new alarm buzzed, sharp, rapid, urgent. Missile. Lock, Eli said. On the screen, 3 red dots approached fast. Enemy interceptors. They found us, Liana said, trying to stand. No, Eli replied, grabbing her shoulder. You're not fighting. I'm not dying in this chair, she said, pushing his hand away. She limped to the side weapons console. Her fingers were clumsy, but she managed to activate the auto turrets. Lock targets, she whispered. Fire! The ship shook as the guns lit up. One missile exploded mid-space. Then another, but the third it was still coming. Eli dove to the controls, pulling the ship hard to the left. The engine screamed. Metal groaned. The missile clipped the rear wing. A shockwave threw them forward. The lights blinked. Panels burst. They were spinning, stabilizers offline. Eli shouted. Liana dragged herself back to the co-pilot seat. She slammed a hand against the console. The ship steadied dash barely. Eli gasped for air, blinking smoke from his eyes. You all right? But Liana didn't answer. She was staring ahead. The planet was now in view. Earth. Home. In with it. Came the pain. Her hands trembled. Her chest rose in short, sharp breaths. She looked at him with eyes full of both love and fear. It's starting, she whispered. The command, it's waking up. He ran to her side. Fight it. She clutched her chest. I'm trying. Then her voice changed. Sharper, broken, like two signals fighting inside her throat. Final command confirmed. Initiating. Protocol. No. She screamed. She dropped to her knees, shaking violently. Eli grabbed the med case. Nothing in it could help her. This wasn't a wound. It was something built deep inside. A final order she couldn't disobey, unless he found a way to overwrite it. Eli looked at the chip in his hand again, the hive code. The signal language. He rushed to the ship's broadcast array. If the command was alien, then maybe he could speak back. He shoved the chip into the console and searched for the override tones. One by one, alien frequencies flashed on screen. Behind him, Liana screamed, holding her head. Execute, execute, execute. Eli found it. A signal labeled. Obedience disrupt. Core shut down. He selected it. Hit transmit. The ship buzzed. Then pulsed. Liana froze, her eyes wide. Then she collapsed. Her body lay still, no movement, no sound. Ayla rushed to her side, shouting her name, but she wasn't breathing. Liana! Eli dropped to the floor beside her, heart pounding. She wasn't breathing. Her chest didn't rise. Her hands were cold. Her face, still and pale, looked peaceful, like a storm had finally ended. No, come back. Eli shouted, shaking her gently. You said you'd make it. He pressed his ear to her chest. Nothing. The override signal, his last desperate attempt, had stopped the command. But it had also stopped her. Tears burned his eyes. He didn't care about the chip anymore. Didn't care about the ship, the war, or the fleet closing in behind them. All he wanted was her. Come on, he whispered, his hands trembling. You fought everything. Don't let this be the end. He reached into the med case and grabbed the shock stem. Pressed it to her chest. Just one more fight, Liana. Click. Shock. Her body jerked, but nothing more. Click. Second shock. Still. Nothing. He dropped the device, defeated. Then he held her in his arms, forehead resting against hers. I remember you, he whispered, voice cracking. I remember the swing set. I remember the fireflies. I remember the night you made me promise you'd never disappear. He held her tighter. I kept waiting for you to come back. I just didn't know you'd come back like this. The stars outside blurred as the ship drifted closer to Earth. The alarms had gone silent. Just the hum of engines now, guiding them toward a planet that didn't even know it had been saved. And then a breath. Eli froze. She moved. Her fingers curled. Weakly against his chest, her lips parted. I heard you. He pulled back, eyes wide. Liana, she blinked slowly. Her voice was thin, barely above a whisper. You called me back. He smiled through tears. You scared me half to death. She gave a faint laugh. Then we're even. Eli helped her sit up slowly, gently. Her body still trembled, but her eyes were bright again. Not glowing. Not alien. Human. The override signal had done more than stop the command. It had reset something deeper. I feel clear, she said. Like the noise is gone. He nodded. It was a long shot, but it worked. She looked toward the window. The Earth grew bigger and brighter in front of them. We made it, she whispered. Together, he said. She leaned into him. Her head rested against his shoulder, her fingers laced with his. "You still have the chip?" she asked. He showed her. "Right here. That's everything," she said. "Their fleet commands, language matrix, war algorithms. Earth will be able to stop them now." Eli nodded. "Because of you." She looked up at him. "Because of us." The ship entered low orbit. Earth's atmosphere welcomed them with golden light. The planet below shimmered with oceans and green continents, untouched by war. Liana closed her eyes. "I didn't think I'd ever see it again." "You're going to see all of it," Eli said. "I'm not letting you go." She smiled. "I'm not going anywhere." Then, a beep. The ship's console flashed a new message. "Incoming transmission. Earth Defense Command Eli opened." The channel, a voice came through. "Unidentified vessel. You are in restricted orbit. State your identity." Eli replied calmly, "This is Captain Eli Carter. I have an urgent package for Earth Command alien fleet data. Attack codes, everything. And I have someone who helped get it here." A pause. Then, "Copy that, Captain. Sending escort ships now. Prepare for landing." The screen went dark. Liana stared out the window. "What happens when they ask what I am?" Eli smiled softly. "I'll tell them you're the reason we still have a home." She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small, a bent metal pendant, old, rusted, with a symbol scratched into it. That it was the same one she used to wear as a child. "I kept this," she whispered, "even when they took everything else. I didn't know why. Now I do." He took it gently. "You remembered who you were?" She nodded. Double quotes. "No," he said, eyes locked on hers. "You remembered who you really are." The ship broke through the clouds. Below them, Earth waited, alive, unaware, and safe, because the girl who had once been taken, the girl who had been turned into a weapon, chose, in the end, to come home. Not as a bomb, not as a soldier, but as herself.